Your Excellencies, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, warmly welcome to Center for China and Globalization. Her Excellency Ambassador Patricia Flor, His Excellency Ambassador Bertrand, Lortholary, Mr. Gao Xiang, Director of China Science and Technology Exchange Center, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CCG and to today's symposium on European and Chinese perspective on artificial intelligence governance. It is very glad to find out so many distinguished guests from foreign embassies, experts, and friends from important media outlets presenting at CCG's headquarters in Beijing. CCG is keen to bridge with the various sides to exchange and communication on global governance. As a non-governmental think tank in China, CCG has been recognized as one of the world's top 100 think tanks. It was granted special consultative status of United Nations Agency in 2018. We've just held our 10th annual China and Globalization Forum end of last month. More than 300 participants from 16 countries around the world attended that conference. Artificial intelligence was among one of the hottest topics discussed at that forum. Actually, AI has long been a significant focus in global governance, even before the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. Today, we are very pleased to become a platform for all stakeholders to share your valuable opinions and insights on AI technology and its regulation and governance. The symposium today is jointly hosted by CCG, the French and German embassy in China. We are glad to work with you to promote in-depth discussions on this critical topic alongside several distinguished experts in this regard. The symposium is divided into 3 parts. First, we will have speeches from Mr. Gao Xiang and the ambassadors from France and Germany. This will be followed by a panel discussion. We will conclude with a networking reception hosted by French and German ambassadors. Thank you all. Let me first introduce our speakers today. We would like to invite Dr. Henry Huiyao Wang, founder and president of CCG. He was a counselor of China State Council, vice chairman of China Association for International Economic Cooperation under MOVCOM, vice chairman of China Public Relations Association, director of Chinese People's Institute of Foreign Affairs. Floor is yours, Dr. Wang.
Her Excellency Ambassador Patricia Flor, His Excellency Ambassador Bertrand Lortholary, Mr. Gao Xiang, Director General of China Science and Technology Exchange Center under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, and also all the distinguished guests all gathered here today at the CCG, warmly welcome. So it's really a great honor to extend welcome also to the diplomats, represent ambassadors. We see quite a few ambassadors was here also, experts, and of course CCG friends, and also the media, journalists, and of course CCG fellows and all the distinguished gathering here. So your visit for this very important issue today is out of the big attention actually lately, and we see the room is full. I apologize for people behind cannot have more seats there, and but we can see the how important this topic that the French ambassador and German ambassador proposed to CCG, and that we actually extremely honored to co-host this event together. As we all know, China, Europe, and United States stand at the front row of AI research and applications, and of course also governance issues. So each region has made significant strides in advancing this transformative technology. In particular, the European Union has actually engaged as a leader in the AI regulations by leading comprehensive laws aimed at ensuring ethical and responsible AI development. We know that UNESCO also had the AI ethical development initiative as well. So this regulatory framework will serve as a very good framework for the future AI governance discussion, and will provide valuable examples for the global community in how to approach better utilization of AI, which is coming very fast into our daily activities and life. So the imperative of cooperation on AI regulation cannot be overstated. AI is not merely a technological innovation, but it also raises profound ethical questions and presents numerous challenges for human society. So issues such as security, privacy, and societal impacts on AI necessitate a collective approach. So it is through these joint efforts that our French colleague and German colleagues, and of course, we have also Minister of Science and Technology representative here, that the three countries can really work together with the whole, particularly with European countries. So I'm encouraged by China's active participation in the AI Safety Summit held at Bletchley Park in the United Kingdom last year. I know Minister of Science and Technology sent a representative there. And this summit marked a significant step towards fostering international dialogue on AI safety and governance. Furthermore, during the President Xi Jinping visit to France just last May, China and France issued a joint declaration on AI governance. So this declaration reflects our shared commitment to advance AI in a manner that both innovative and ethically sound. So looking ahead, we eagerly anticipate the third AI Safety Summit scheduled to be held in Paris in 2025. And this upcoming summit represents another critical opportunity to achieve broader consensus on AI regulation and cooperation. We know that we also have another one this year. So you can see this topic is getting more and more important. We are optimistic through those continued dialogues, exchanges, and events like this, we can establish a robust framework that guide the ethical development and deployment of AI technologies. So in addition to our collective cooperation with Europe, we also like to mention that recent development in Sino-American relations regarding AI governance. As we all know, in May, that China and the United States held its first meeting of intergovernance dialogue on AI in Geneva, and this meeting facilitated a valuable exchange of views of technology risk associated with AI, underscoring the necessity for ongoing dialogue between China with US, but also between China and the EU and also many other countries. So it is noteworthy that despite the frequent engagement between countries in recent years, we have yet to achieve a concrete and extensive milestone in AI governance. This is a new beginning. So this highlights the urgency for us to identify our efforts and work collectively towards tangible outcomes. So let today's discussion that CCG, French Embassy, and German Embassy co-organized together, this discussion marks also a new beginning of some development for these collective efforts to harness the potential of AI while mitigating its risk. So in closing, I'm very honored and to have this opportunity to continue to hear all our valuable insights and on this matter, and I really particularly expecting our two distinguished ambassadors to give your thoughts, but also I'm sure my colleague and Mr. Gao Xiang, who is an expert on this, and he's looking after the Science and Technology Exchange Center at the Ministry of Science and Technology, is also very knowledgeable. So we'd like to hear all of you for this important occasion. So let's really work together to strive a better future where AI can serve as a force for good to promote the well-being of all humanity. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate your coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang, from your opening remark. Next, we would like to invite Her Excellency Ambassador Patricia Flor. We have the welcome remarks. So, okay. So, okay. Next, we would like to invite Mr. Gao Xiang, Director of China Science and Technology Exchange Center under the Ministry of Science and Technology, to deliver your remark. Floor is yours.
Your Excellency, German Ambassador to China, Patricia Flor, and Your Excellency, Bertrand Lortholary, French Ambassador to China, President Henry Wang, and Secretary General Mabel Miao. I'm very happy to attend today's symposium, and I would like to share with you some of my thoughts and understanding of AI. Artificial intelligence, AI, is a new field of human development and is an important driver for promoting scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. At present, AI has entered a critical stage of explosive development and growth. The development of big data, deep learning, enhanced augmented learning, and other technologies are accelerating. Various large models and generative artificial intelligence applications such as Sora and ChatGPT are emerging, which will certainly set off a new wave of AI, and this will accelerate the arrival of the era of AGI. The rapid growth of global AI technology will certainly have a profound impact on the economic and social development and the progress of human civilization. And of course, this will bring more opportunities to the world. At the same time, AI technology will also bring risks and complex challenges, predictable and unpredictable, such as privacy, ethical risk, social equity, military security, and geopolitics, etc. So these are the key elements in artificial intelligence governance, and they are related to the destiny of mankind, and they are common issues faced by all countries around the world. As a responsible country in AI, China advocates giving equal weight to development and security. So that's a very important philosophy of AI governance for China. We will embrace new things and new opportunities, but at the same time, we want to install brakes before the car hits the road. So we would like to share with you our practice and philosophy in AI governance. On the one hand, China promotes the healthy development of new generation of AI and actively explore new paths for AI regulation and governance. 7 years ago, in July 2017, China issued the plan for the development of a new generation of AI, which clearly said for the first time that by 2025, a preliminary system of laws, regulations, ethical norms, and policies for AI will be established. And over the years, the Ministry of Science and Technology has been improving various laws and regulations. At the end of 2022, the development of large models has given rise to the iteration of AI technology, and the generative AI has become a new development direction for AI industry. In order to promote the healthy development and application of generative artificial intelligence, in July 2023, China issued the interim measures for the management of generative AI services, which made institutional arrangements for key issues such as data security, privacy, misinformation, and IPR for the development of generative AI. This marks an important step for China to accelerate AI legislation, and as far as we know, this is the very first special legislation on generative AI in the world. On the other hand, China actively cooperates with all parties to promote AI governance and to push the reform of global governance system in the right direction. First, we deeply participate in global AI governance and actively contribute Chinese wisdom and solutions. At the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation last year, President Xi Jinping proposed the Global AI Governance Initiative, which clearly expounded China's views and propositions, provided constructive ideas for AI governance, and provided a blueprint for relevant international discussions and rulemaking. The Chinese government advocates that the development of AI should adhere to three principles. The first is to ensure that the development of AI should be beneficial, should benefit the common welfare of mankind, conform to human ethical norms, rules of international law, and the direction of human civilization advancement. And second is to ensure safety, which means that the development of AI should always be under the control of man and continuously improve interpretability and predictability. And the third is to ensure fairness so that all countries can equally participate and benefit from the development of AI. Second, we will actively conduct exchanges and dialogue with all parties on global AI governance and strengthen practical cooperation. Since the beginning of this year, China has worked together with the United States and EU and some other countries to conduct AI dialogues and exchanges, which has helped us to build extensive consensus, and we believe that this will promote the healthy development of AI. And from April 14th to 16th, during Chancellor Scholz from Germany's visit to China, President Xi Jinping held talks with him in which he emphasized that we penetrate into each other's supply chain and industrial chain, and in digitization and green transformation, we have great potential for cooperation. And from May 5th to 7th, during President Xi Jinping's visit to France, he held talks with French President, and the two countries issued a joint statement on AI and global governance. And it is the first such statement between China and the developed economy, jointly committed to promoting safe, reliable, and trustworthy AI system and strengthening international cooperation on AI. And last month, on May 14th, in order to implement the consensus reached by the Chinese and U.S. leaders in Francisco, the first China-U.S. AI intergovernmental dialogue was successfully held in Geneva, Switzerland. The two sides exchanged views professionally and constructively on issues such as AI technology risks and global governance, which greatly encouraged the international community and sent a positive signal for global AI governance. The Chinese government has always regarded Europe as an important aspect of China's major country diplomacy with Chinese characteristics, an important partner in achieving Chinese modernization. Since 2023, China and Europe has fully restarted face-to-face exchanges at all levels, fully activated dialogue and cooperation in various fields, and explored potential for cooperation in green, digital, and science and technology development. China-EU relations have shown a good momentum. Technological innovation has always been an important part of China-EU cooperation. Since the signing of the China-EU Science and Technology Cooperation Agreement, we have established cooperation mechanisms such as Science and Technology Cooperation Steering Committee. Scientists from both sides have carried out exchanges and cooperation in many fields. And in science and technology, our cooperation have made important contribution to the development and welfare of mankind. As a national level professional institution for foreign science and technology exchanges, China Science and Technology Exchange Center, CSTEC, gives full play to its own advantages and actively carries out non-governmental international science and technology exchanges and cooperation. In cooperation with Europe, we have created a series of theme day activities for China-Europe Science and Technology Innovation Community, which has been supported by the EU embassies to China. In the fields of life sciences, space sciences, and new energy equipment manufacturing, we have organized discussions and exchanges between Chinese universities and research institutions and their European counterparts. And I would like to tell the German ambassador to China that we have in-depth cooperation with German entities such as the Bayer Group, which has promoted non-governmental science and technology cooperation between China and Europe. And in May this year, during President Xi Jinping's visit to France, CSTEC successfully organized the China-France Science and Technology Cooperation Achievement Exhibition hosted by the Science and Technology Authorities of China and France in Paris, which was highly participated by science institutions in France. And we received many visitors. And this has been highly accepted by the scientific community in China and France. In the future, we very much look forward to conducting non-governmental exchanges with European universities, research institutions, and companies, contributing to global science and technology governance. Ladies and gentlemen, today, human progress is increasingly influenced by algorithms and networks which have changed our lives. We're at a critical historical moment. We must vigorously develop AI technology and urgently need to guide AI in the direction of human civilization through international cooperation. Let us hold the principles of consultation, joint development and sharing, adhere to the concepts of people-oriented AI for good, strengthen cooperation and exchanges in AI governance, jointly prevent risks, ensure that AI is safe, reliable, and controllable, and share the dividends of AI technology development among all countries. These are my preliminary thoughts, and I look forward to your feedback. I wish this symposium a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gao Xiang, the Director General of the Ministry of Science and Technology. Next, we would like to warmly welcome Her Excellency Ambassador Patricia Flor. Ambassador Ambassador Flor is a senior diplomat with more than 30 years experience working for both EU and Germany. She was a German ambassador to Georgia, EU Special Representative for Central Asia, and the ambassador of EU to Japan. In 2022, she became the ambassador of Germany to China. Ambassador Flor actually participated in the 10th Annual China and Globalization Forum held in Beijing a week ago by CCG, where she gave a speech on multilateralism in the multipolarity world. Floor is yours, Ambassador Flor.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, dear panelists, dear guests, and of course, thank you to you, Director Wang, for hosting us today in your premises here. So a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming. I'm very pleased to see you all here with us today. Today, we want to talk about AI governance. That's not an easy task, even though AI is surrounding us more and more in our daily lives, but the technology is still in the early stages of its development. Now, as an ambassador, I'm not an expert, so it's good to see that we have many real experts here today with us. Now, some might say it is way too early to talk about AI governance and regulation. And we should actually wait for further development of artificial intelligence before we start to think how to regulate it. They fear that regulation may slow down creativity and progress. Others, on the other hand, are saying AI is developing way too fast. Regulation can't keep up, and policymakers come too late. Some, like Elon Musk and others, have even called to pause the development of most powerful AI systems to give humanity time to keep up. The reality is, though, AI is here to stay, and we need to address its implications for daily life, for business, society, and even international relations. Many countries around the globe have started to use it and to regulate it. With the technology on the rise, global discussions have started about how to govern artificial intelligence internationally, to foster its growth for productive purposes, but to also contain its risks for society. The EU has recently brought forward a risk-based approach to AI regulation. The approach, in essence, is very simple. The riskier an application, the more regulated it needs to be. And of course, in Europe, AI applications for mass surveillance, such as facial recognition databases, predictive policing, or an artificial intelligence used for social scoring, are banned. The goal is don't hinder innovation, but mitigate existential risks and protect citizens' rights at the same time. China has brought forward regulation on more specific AI matters, addressing issues like generative AI and recommendation algorithms, as explained just right now by Mr. Gao. And it is also reported that China is working on an AI law. So therefore, today's event is very timely. When it comes to AI, China and Europe have many concerns in common. However, it's no secret that we also have our differences. For example, when it comes to the question of how, where, and under which conditions to use AI. And that is probably not only true for Europe and China, but for many regions and countries around the globe. So how can we bridge those differences? How can we organize global AI governance in a way that common concerns are addressed, even if we do not agree on all relevant aspects of the matter? At the United Nations level, the UN High-Level Advisory Body on AI is debating how AI can be governed for the common good, and how AI governance can be aligned in an internationally interoperable way, combined with human rights as defined in the United Nations Charter, and also with the Sustainable Development Goals. That is why today I am extremely pleased that we have one of the two Chinese experts of the UN High-Level Advisory Body here with us today, Professor Zhang Linghan. Special welcome to you. I am excited and looking forward to learn your perspectives on AI governance and the recommendations the high-level body is suggesting. Besides the discussions ongoing at UN level, other processes have kicked off. Just 2 weeks ago, many countries have debated such questions at the AI Safety Summit hosted by South Korea, which was a follow-up to the AI Safety Summit in the UK and the Bletchley Declaration, signed by many countries, including China. France will be next hosting the AI Safety Summit, and I'm sure my French colleague will give us some insights in what is planned. To sum up, now is the perfect time to talk about AI governance. The technology is on the rise. It's a hot topic around the globe. It's exciting and frightening at the same time. In any case, it will undoubtedly change our lives, which is why I'm extremely pleased to have a discussion with all of you today. And let me therefore now hand over to my French colleague, Ambassador Bertrand Lortholary. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Great remarks and introduction. Next, we would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Bertrand Lortholary. Ambassador Lortholary is a 中国通, an expert on Chinese culture, as he used to study Oriental languages and civilization in Chinese. He has served as a diplomat for France since 1990s in Africa, the US, and China. He became the French ambassador to China in 2023. Warmly welcome, Ambassador. Flor is yours.
Dear Dr. Henry Wang Huiyao, Excellency Ambassador liebe Patricia, Mr. Director General Gao Xiang, Excellencies, ambassadors, panelists, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, chers amis, if I may. I would like to thank you all very warmly for accepting this afternoon our joint invitation. I would like first and foremost to convey to the Center for China and Globalization my sincere appreciation for hosting this important event, and of course to our dearest German friends for co-organizing this event with us. As you mentioned, Patricia, large-scale and far-reaching technology developments in the field of AI are taking place all over the world, including, of course, within the EU, and of course as well in China, as we can all witness in our daily lives here in Beijing and all over the territory. And like you said again, dear Patricia, AI is both an opportunity and an issue whose governance requires dialogue and cooperation across the board. That is why I'm happy to report that the EU has chosen to regulate AI without hampering innovation and we are proud to have adopted the world's first comprehensive regulation on artificial intelligence with the AI Act. This regulation will prohibit practices that present unacceptable risks, but it will at the same time enable the development of safe and trustworthy AI solutions to our citizens, and also, as you said, Patricia, again, safeguard their fundamental rights. Our collective approach is first very balanced. We want to mitigate the risks, but we also want to create a framework that fosters investment and innovation in AI. On AI, as well as on other global challenges, I want to underline that, of course, there is little France can achieve without a strong and unified European Union approach. And President Macron made it clear in his recent April 24th speech on Europe that AI would need to be one of the key areas on which Europeans need to increase their investments and autonomous capabilities. Also, the EU has very strong ambitions when it comes to AI development, and France, ladies and gentlemen, is determined to have a strong contribution to this overall EU strategy. On May the 21st, President Macron made important announcements concerning AI talents, infrastructures, fundings, uses, and governance. France will invest 400 million euros in 9 AI clusters. We will push for the development of France's computing power. We will mobilize more private investment for the development of high-end technologies, including LLMs, the famous large language models. And we will work on the diffusion of AI to the different sectors of the economy and the administration, including health, justice, and education. And I'm pleased to say that our efforts are not going unnoticed. Many of the world's tech leaders recently attended the Vivatech exhibition in Paris, including Robin Lee, the CEO of Baidu. And yet again, as President Macron mentioned, the only good governance of AI is global governance of AI. And that is why France is pursuing a constructive engagement on AI with all relevant stakeholders. And China, as one of the world's leading AI players, must of course be involved in this conversation. As some of you know, and as Dr. Wang and Dr. Gao just highlighted, France and China have adopted a joint statement on global governance and AI during President Xi's state visit to France last month. We agreed with China on the importance of fostering the development and safety of AI while promoting appropriate international governance and the use of AI for the common good. China has also expressed its willingness to participate in the AI Action Summit that France indeed will host in February 2025, following up indeed on the process opened by the United Kingdom and South Korea. And our approach is the same as our event today. We want to gather all relevant stakeholders, including states, but also civil society and private actors, to find as much common ground as possible on the global governance of AI. And beyond the issues of safety and security, this summit will also cover a wide range of challenges and opportunities triggered by AI. And these include innovation, governance, the future of work, as well as common goods. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Germany and France, along with the European Union and its member states, will no doubt continue to jointly contribute to the global conversation on AI governance. Of course, this global discussion needs to be informed by expert ideas and contribution, and that's why I am also as much looking forward to listening to our very distinguished panelists. Thank you, everybody. 谢谢大家.
The French ambassador has a beautiful pronunciation in Mandarin. Thank you very much. So there's perspectives from China, from EU, from Germany, from France. Very wonderful. We would like to move to our panel discussions. Looking forward, it's a wonderful one. And thank you for your all and your great speeches. The panel is going to be moderated by our colleague, Mr. Mike Liu Hong. Mike Liu is the Vice President of CCG Senior Fellow. He joined CCG in 2022. Mike is a former Managing Director and the legal rep for DXC Technology in Greater China region. And before, Michael was the Global VP, Vice President and the Country Head and the legal representative for Infosys in Greater China region. So I would like to invite Michael and our panelists, including Professor Zhang Linghan, just Ambassador Flor mentioned that she is a professor at the Institute of Data Law, China University of Political Science and Law, member of a high-level advisory body on AI, United Nations. Another panelist is Mr. Gu Dengchen, Director, International Policy Research Center, Ali Research. We have another panelist is Mrs. Marjot Hananen, Head of Trade Section, Minister Counselor, EU Delegation. Last but not least, we'll have another panelist, Dr. Mark Lindemann. He's Head of Division of Bilateral Digital Policy, German Ministry of Digital and Transport. Floor is yours. So let's set up our panel.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I look at after we listening to ambassadors, fascinating talk, as well as from Director General Gao Xiang. I look at this really right time to discuss this very hot topic. If I take 1 minute to take back and to reflect on this, some major outcome from last November, Battery Park agreement, I look at how to do the assessment of prospect for stronger global governance, as well as some path forward. So if you really look at the accumulative share of a granted AI pattern by 2022, China is in a leading position with 61% of all the AI patents granted. And on the other hand, if we look at as we really look through the large language models, U.S. is in the leading position with 50% of large language models. And even, Musk was saying by 2030, artificial intelligence will overtake human in intellectual capacity, right? We see a lot of fear, uncertainty, as well as opportunities. So also we are saying is as what we have seen, what we have seen, I probably will start the first question with Professor Zhang. Yeah, as we all have heard lots of discussing in the UN, can you give us some insight into a discussing currently happening in the high-level advisory body on artificial intelligence? Also, how do you see the role of major players like US, China, and the EU member state at the UN level? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be invited here, and I want to briefly introduce the work in the UN high-level advisory body. Actually, our advisory body was assembled by the Secretary General of UN in last October. And also, we have been working together for 10 months now. I also met my great colleagues from France and from Germany. And my colleague from Germany is called Anna Christman, and my colleague from France called Rahaf. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Rahaf what? Rahaf. We call it Rahaf. We call her Rahaf. Yes, we work together. And until now, we had 3 in-person meetings. Last December, we had our first in-person meeting in New York, the headquarters of UN. And before that, we work together and meet frequently, once a week actually online, to draft our interim report. If you search online, our interim report was issued end of last December, just before the Christmas. And in our interim report, we separate into 3 groups. We totally have 38 members, and we separated 3 groups. The first group is focused on the opportunity and enablers. And second group focus on risk and challenges, and the third group focus on the global AI governance. I can share a very interesting detail that all the experts who volunteered to be in the first group, opportunity and enablers, are all male, and all the experts, volunteered to the second group, risk and challenges, are all female. So also it is showed in the investigation, in all the members and experts, the AI risk investigation, all the list of all kinds of risks. All the women are more concerned compared to men about AI risks. So it's a very interesting detail. And in our interim report, we list all the opportunity and the enablers, and also the risk and the challenges. But the most important, and people pay much more attention, is on the AI global governance. We had a roadmap of how the UN should be the framework to discuss the AI global governance. And we have the roadmap of in 6 months, what we should do, and in the 12 months, what we should do, and in the 24 months and the 48 months. And also we had our second meeting in Geneva. On the first day, we visited all the international organizations under the UN framework, including WHO and ITU, 7 of them. And when visiting them, we all heard that other international organizations under UN framework said, okay, we already have done so much about the global AI governance. Why the UN, the Secretary General, want to establish a new AI agency or AI governance framework to do that? And also we discussed our form of the future global AI governance agency. And I think all the state members under UN have been informed that we will discuss it in September, the future summit. And also last week, I just came back from Singapore and met Mac there. We also have our third in-person meeting. We will finalize our final report on the UN advisory body and deliver to all the member states in July or in August. It's our progress so far. And when you talk about who and what UN should play, what kind of role UN should play in the global AI governance, do I take too much time?
No, that's okay.
Okay, actually, we have also have a discussion with the experts from UN, EU, and from experts from US, and kind of a debate when and how and who should be the critical role to exert the global AI governance. We can see other states like UK, like US, have done a lot of job on it. Like we have G7 and G20, we have GPI and the Global AI Safety Summit. And some people, we ask why UN want to do that. I will briefly explain that. I think the first is trust. We hardly can. If we review all the global governance initiatives, we can see that some states just begin it and call other countries come and sign it. We can co-sign on the declaration and we can co-sign a statement. But I feel very deeply in the Singapore, we participate a digital forum of small states. An expert from Fiji, he said, hardly we are included in this global AI governance discussion. We are not hope to be called and tell you, sign here. We want to sit by a table and discuss all the details, discuss our demands and our need in the global AI governance. And we want our voice to be heard. That's why the UN should play the most important role in the global AI governance. And we can see all the statements and like UK initiated the Global AI Safe Summit. There are only a few developed countries. And we have statistics that 180 countries are not included in all this global AI governance statement or initiatives. So that's why UN should be the most important international organization to do the global AI governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I look at you touch upon some very important topic, the structure, and all the members involved, especially what the concern we should give to those smaller states. Those are very important observations. So next speaker, I would like to invite Mark Nedman, and Mark is a director of International Policy Research Center. Director of the head of the bilateral digital policy, German Ministry of Digital and Transport. So Mark also traveled all the way, just arrived yesterday from Singapore. So Germany has participated in the follow-up summit to the UK AI Safety Summit 2 weeks ago in South Korea. What could you two share with us some insight as well on what was discussed and agreed on, as well as Professor Zhang was sharing, what's some key takeaway from both meetings in the UK as well as in Korea? What are some opportunities as well as challenges from your perspective? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the question, and also thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting, and it's an honor to share the stage with so many distinguished experts. What happened in Korea 2 weeks ago at the AI Safety Summit is that first, or perhaps as background information, I should say that Germany has participated in 2 ways. First, in the meeting of the heads of government, our Chancellor has participated virtually. And in the ministerial track, which took place in person in Seoul, our ministry has participated in the form of our State Secretary, Stefan Schnorr, who is in charge of digital policy, has attended the summit. And what happened was first that the discussion on AI safety that already was initiated last year in November in Bletchley Park has been continued. But what is most remarkable is that the discussion has moved beyond an exclusive discussion about AI safety. It has been expanded to also include the topics of innovation and inclusivity. It has been discussed how we can make sure that global AI governance is inclusive and also that it is innovation friendly. So that has been something that's been new, that has been added to the discussion that took place in the UK last year. And 2 main outcomes of the AI Safety Summit were that first, there was the Seoul Declaration that has been adopted by 10 countries, including Germany, in which these governments have committed to cooperate on AI risk research, a very important topic. And secondly, the Seoul Ministerial Statement has been adopted, in which 27 countries have committed to promote evidence-based reports on AI risk. And these are 2 very important and helpful outcomes that we hope will form a good basis for the further discussions that will take place at next year's AI Safety Summit in Paris.
Thank you very much. Maybe I come back with some details later once we finish up the first one. I look at 2 takeaways from your sharing is number one, AI risk research. Also, how can we, all the member states, be able to come back with evidence-based, research and reports, so we can do a fair, good assessment on where we are, as well as opportunities, right? So next, I would invite to Mr. Gu. Oops. I would like to invite Mr. Gu Dengchen, Director, International Policy Research Center from Alibaba. Mr. Gu, floor is yours. 您讲中文。
If you choose Mandarin, it's okay.
The question for you is, Alibaba is the leading technology company, and how to navigate several regulatory space that could because essentially challenging for her to train fundamental models, foundation models. What are some Alibaba's expectations regarding global AI governance?
Thank you for the question. And actually, regarding the expectations, we have a lot of hopes for the AI governance globally. A lot of institutions and a lot of the academics, they ask, what is your expectation regarding the issue? So I think I will give you two expectations. The first one is we hope that the AI governance align with the industry reality. We heard a lot of things about the AI will do this, AI will do that. And if we look back to the internet age, if we look back, the big tech like the Amazon, Google, Meta, and Alibaba, Tencent in China, they all have experienced a long time growth. I mean, 20 years. The market value to wait for the product technology fit, to wait for the product market fit. It takes a long time. Nowadays, despite the big moment defined by like GPT-4 or the Sora early this year, we haven't seen a killer ABP on your cell phone, right? We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. So this is on the consumer end. On the business end, in China we say, on the business end, according to, Ali has rolled out our first large language model like 1 year ago. We called it 千问, 同义千问. We called it 千问. Just last month in Beijing, we rolled out our new edition, 千问 2.5. Actually, there are 3 or 4 editions of the 千问. Nowadays, we have like 19,000 business clients on board using the AI to integrate it into their working flows. So according to our survey, or we talked to some of our clients, and actually Alibaba itself, it has the e-commerce branch and has the logistic branch and have the science branch. We talked to a lot of our colleagues. We find that the AI is mainly used as efficiency improvement tool nowadays. It is we are not at an AI native era. So this is our first suggestion, that the governance should align with the industrial reality. The second one is, of course, the trustworthiness and the security and the safety. They all should be put at the very core heart part of the AI governance, right? Alibaba is a true believer of a secure and safe AI. From the day one, not only last year, but several years ago, AI is not a new topic. From the day one, we are dedicated to developing and deploying the AI model applications in a responsible way. And we believe that without trustworthiness, without security, there will be no AI. This is our second. But just as a lot of our distinguished guests has mentioned, last month in Seoul, we have the Seoul Summit about the AI safety, right? We noticed a scientific report before the Seoul Summit. Some top scientists issued the report. What impressed me most is that our understanding of AI is at the very early stage, and our understanding about AI safety is too at the very nascent stage. So we believe that the problem brought by AI will ultimately be solved by the advancement of the technology. And so we are trying hard to do the AI safety research work nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I look at one of things, the industry reality is about, how you can take a step-by-step approach, right? So as far as AI technology is concerned, how we can apply this technology to transform the industry. But we are still in the early stage. We should not be too panicked. So basically, that's what I can draw from your sharing. Last but not least, I would like to invite Matthew Hanoni, the head of trade sections, Minister Councillor, EU delegation. So Europe recently published a broad AI law. Could you tell us about the main points from this report? I refer to a colleague, Mr. Gu, was talking about some observation from AI safety. What's the European perspective in structuring this AI law, even the technology is still in a very early stage? And if also I can follow up is what's now already a good time to make a big AI law? What's a European perspective? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much also for inviting me. I'm not an expert, but I can say a couple of words on the European legislation. So as some of you know, on 21st of May, which is only actually a couple of weeks ago, the EU adopted an AI Act, which is the first comprehensive legislation on AI in the world. And we do hope that that will contribute also for the international discussions and fora, because I think it's a very good model. So this is based, as already flagged by our ambassadors, on a risk-based approach. For us, we see it the most, let's say, most critical is exactly to make sure that the AI applications, that the safety and fundamental rights of citizens will be safeguarded through its use. And maybe I can comment on the fact that you said, is this the right time now to come with this legislation? Yes, it is. Because those points which are the most fundamental, the safety and fundamental freedoms of people, these will have to be safeguarded also when we go forward. They don't change. They are already there. These concerns are already there. The need to safeguard these issues is there. So the sooner we regulate on those, I think that also creates us a space to have to keep space to innovation, to create the kind of clarity for operators that they know under which terms and under which framework they can develop this AI, so that it will be actually ethically acceptable and it will actually benefit people. So I think it's the sooner we do that, the better. And EU has taken the first steps on that. So I think it's actually very positive. So when I come back to this risk-based approach, so we have this kind of step-by-step approach. So we have banned applications which are banned, and they are banned because they are considered too dangerous, and they are, for example, applications that go for manipulating people's free will or used for social surveillance. We don't allow that. Then the largest part would be something maybe that we are considering high risk. And high risk is something that is used, for example, for critical infrastructure, or medical devices, or this type of applications. And these high risk applications are subject to certain rules and regulations. So they have to fulfill a certain criteria to be able to be enter in the European market. Of course, standards will be very important in this respect. And we, of course, if we have European standard commission set standard, international standards, then we we expect that because there's a compliance with the standards, there's a compliance with the legislation. So this is very important. Then we have those where you have transparency regulations. We have chat box, deep fakes. So it needs to be clear that people, when they are using these applications, they understand that they are communicating with the robot. There has to be clear transparency obligations by the developers to make this clear. And also these applications need to have an automatic systems that also the governments will immediately recognize that something is created by AI. So it cannot be hidden. There has to be a system that is able to recognize that this is done by automated artificial intelligence. And then the last one, what I would mention is the kind of large platforms, like about what are used to develop other systems. And these are, of course, also subject to transparency obligations, and also depending on what kind of contents they have, maybe additional applications and regulations as well. So this is kind of the topics in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. I look at this as, if I recall, this is also in history, as far as technology is concerned. We are seeing a global collaboration in such an early stage to take a collaborative approach to try to figure out what's the risk, what's the opportunity. Right. So my next question, I'm not going to direct to any particular person since we have a perfect, 2 European representatives and 2 Chinese representatives. I would really look at China have been also making a tremendous progress. What are some learning we can draw from a European perspective? Maybe I invite our European friends to share maybe 1 or 2 things you would suggest to Chinese friends. What are things we can, should learn in adapting this technology? I look at this always a matter of how we make a balance score between innovation and the regulation. Right? And after that, I will invite my fellow Chinese panelists to share or some, street smart ideas, how the grassroots innovation we have seen in the last couple of years, what are some good things as far as for European practice, right? Maybe I start with the either Mark or Matthew. Oh, Mark. Okay, Mark.
Okay, I'm going to start, and then please feel free to chime in and add some comments. So I think it's very early to say what China could learn from the European approach, because we have just adopted the rules, as Marie has mentioned. The implementation still needs to be seen. And I think when it comes to that phase of implementing the AI Act, we're going to have some learnings, both on the European level and also on the level of the member states, that China could look at in order to see how the things work out in practice and whether or not they should perhaps follow the same approach or look at alternatives and also see where to draw inspirations from and where not. Something that might be an interesting point of discussion is the question whether the risk-based approach that has been mentioned earlier, and that is an approach that has been fully supported by, I think, all member states also. But one thing that has been heavily discussed in the Parliament and also in the Council is whether or not the risk-based approach should apply to AI models or whether it should be applied to the applications of AI. And there are some pros and cons to probably both approaches. Some people argued before the AI Act was adopted that it might be more innovation friendly to just apply the approach and the regulation to the actual application of AI, not to the models as such. So this is something that might deserve some closer observation and could be discussed by others whether or not it's a good approach or not.
Thank you. I look at as European approach is very much based on evidence and the data-based approach to analyze to assess the risk as well as the opportunities. That's basically will lead to the policymakers to make informed decisions, right? So maybe I invite Professor Zhang to share. You probably also have seen the tremendous growth in China in the AI space. What are things, are we going too aggressive or too fast versus European take an informed decision? What's your view on this point?
Thank you. Back to your last question, what China can learn from European regulation on AI? Actually, last 5 years, I participated almost all the regulation in China about AI, like algorithm recommendation, deep synthesis, and generative AI interim regulation. When we talk about learn, I like this word because AI safety is the greatest common divisor in globally. I think all the countries really value the importance to keep AI safety. And I think all the efforts different countries made to keep AI safety are really appreciable. And also, when we talk about their own path or own measures to regulate AI to make sure AI safety, I think they have a different perspective and different history and different framework of laws. So actually, China issued the first generative AI regulation last August. And we all see that from the original version, the draft issued in April, it has changed a lot. In this procedure, also I organized several experts to advise the regulator to revise the articles, and I'm so glad all the advice are taken. And then when EU issued their AI Act, and it will take effect in 2 years, we don't know what technology will develop in 2 years, what the progress will be. And I think until then, maybe it's too early to say what kind of a regulatory framework should be adopted. And also in China, we can see the first week in May, the national legislation plan have mentioned that China is drafting their AI law. Actually, I'm also in the expert group. And according to the history, we think there may be 2 or 3 years we can finalize our AI law. I don't know what will happen in the middle. So I think we can learn from each other. All the measures which can make sure humans are protected by the regulatory framework to make sure AI safety. We can learn from each other, and also we cannot ignore the difference between EU and China, like you introduced, and we all know there are different four level of risks in EU. Actually, some unacceptable risks, the application is legal in China, and also it's the difference of culture and it's difference of a situation, and also I think. The Chinese AI regulation are kind of growth from the content regulation, and it's a totally different approach by the EU's risk regulatory approach. So I think in the 2 or 3 years, when the technology develops more, and we can see we can map the risk of AI, we can get a better conclusion. We can collaborate with each other, and what consensus we have on AI regulation. Thank you.
Yes.
Just a short comment to comment on the entering into force on the EU regulation. So in 6 months' time, it's already going to enter into force in banned. Everything which is banned, all those banned technologies will be already in force in 6 months, and then the large platform GPI in 1 year, and the rest comes in 2 years. So we already actually roll it into force in the coming months.
Very good, very good. Even before I open the floor for our audience, any more comments from Mr. Gu or Mark? I look at one of the things I always feel This is a very critical moment, also best time forever. If you look at how European and China can join hands to explore those unknown, that's important, to share, to amplify the power. Also, on the other hand, we can mitigate potential risk. Mr. Gu?
Actually, we see the EU Act as the process. Actually, the EU Act was brought into discussion long way before the AIGC, before ChatGPT, before some automate, right? Like I remember it's 2020. So EU Act, we see it as the consensus building process. Consensus building, the consensus including like the multi-stakeholder engagement, like the transparency, accountability, like the all the thing, the regulation about the data, the privacy, sometimes about the intellectual property, online misinformation, something like that. So we see it as the consensus building process. Especially, what impressed me most is that I watch a lot of videos from like the Jeff Hinton, the top scientist, right? He told me that the AGI will be a reality in like 20 years. We heard about the Huang Tiejun, Zhiyuan, a famous institute in China about AGI. Mr. Huang told us that it will be like 15 or 5 years. So the EU Act was the first time to make us believe, give us certainty. I mean, make us to believe that the first time we, the human, we are the creators of the AI, and AI is a tool. We are the creators of the tool, and we are finally the decision makers of how to govern the tool and how to govern the people who use the tool. I believe that gives us some kind of confidence. Actually, as the distinguished guest has mentioned, the EU Act won't be in, comprehensively put into practice in like I remember 2027, right? So the industry and the governments all around the world are waiting to see what will the Act implementation involve, and what is that? Does that mean anything to China or to any other country? In summary, I believe that China and the EU should learn from each other. Just as I said, AI transformer diffusion, like the parameter hallucination is new, but AI is not new. Long before the ChatGPT, China has rolled out a lot of regulations regarding the online harm protection and the online privacy protection, data security, algorithm recommendation. All these are very precious, very precious resources. How would these regulations to influence the China's AI trajectory? And what does it mean to the rest of the world? Which we hold an open attitude to these discussions further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I, ask for the closing, since we also the time running fast, can we open the floor and invite our panelists to take questions, or whatever questions you can raise your hand. And also I already received some questions. So maybe first one go to Victor Gao. Yeah, Victor. Help Victor with the mic.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, the two ambassadors and all the panelists about your wonderful remarks. Allow me to be the devil's advocate. While we are talking about European and Chinese perspectives on AI governance, which is absolutely important, and the more such dialogue, the better, I suspect maybe somewhere in the corner in cyberspace, AI is talking about how to break away from human governance. They will not be satisfied to be governed by human. I think AI will not be satisfied to be subjugated always by human. And why this is a threat? Because AI is so fast, so accelerating. I think Homo sapien will be left behind if AI is left with itself. That's the major danger we are faced with. Now, the other danger is that if mankind can get our acts together, if we are peaceful, for example, we talk about global cooperation, that's one thing. But if we are talking about opposing blocs, wars, for example, and there is a war in Europe, there's a war in the Middle East, and war, historically speaking, is the best accelerator of all technologies. Then in times of war, or in times of anticipated war, you actually accelerate the fast speed of AI. That means I think we really need to address one fundamental, most philosophical issue, that whether, for example, we should eventually allow AI to subjugate Homo sapien. And when I hear about our distinguished European people talk about privacy, etc., all these are very important. But when Homo sapien becomes subjugated to AI eventually, holy cow, all our human rights, all our human dignity, all our privacy issues will be completely irrelevant. So I think we are in a race of time. And while all our discussions are important, we need to do whatever we can to promote peace, especially peace between China and the United States, because if China or the United States really want to dedicate themselves to using AI for military purposes, holy cow, Homo sapien will soon become subjugated by AI. That's my observation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do I have any volunteer to answer? Because I look at this as very classical fear. And, also this is also relevant because fundamentally how we can see, security for human. Thank you, Professor Zhang.
Thank you. Just briefly respond to your question, maybe not question, just jump in the comments. I totally agree. Actually, I just heard one broadcast. It's called AI. The war is the laboratory of AI. And just as you said, the war really accelerated the development of AI, just like history. And also, in some bilateral dialogue, people are all think like the most concerns people from both China and United States and from other countries are the unsafe or unethical use of AI in military system. But we have seen that the AI has been used in military system. Like OpenAI just removed the article to forbidden AI to military use in beginning of this year out of the users' agreement. And also we can see a protest in United States that they really protest the Google sold Gemini to the Israel military. So we can see it happened already. But how to deal with this issue, I think it really raised the recognition that UN should exert the most important impact on to forbidden AI's unethical use in military system, and only UN has this legitimacy to forbidden all the country to use AI unsafely, just like the IAEA. Thank you.
Thank you for Professor Zhang. I look at this as wonderful, even the artificial intelligence technology in such early stage. UN is playing very active role to navigate the society, industry, how to work together. Next speaker, I would like to maybe also receive a request from Rui Zhang from AirDoc. He's a CEO founder of AirDoc. Also, this is the company. So from technology perspective, how you see AI technology make a contribution to the society, as well as on the downside, what are steps you have taken in order to mitigate this fear as well as risk for the society? Ray?
Okay, thank you. To us, actually, because we are a product company, so we see things differently. As an engineer, we want to build something for good purpose. AirDoc was founded several years ago. We are focusing on developing a medical AI solution to direct shooting of light across the pupil and then take the picture of the blood vessel and the neural systems with a non-invasive and accessible way so that every people can check whether they have heart attack or stroke or diabetes in their home by themselves. It's already been approved by 40 countries, including European CE, MDR, as well as China safety and United States safety. For us, we treat the whole AI solution is still, to be honest, I think it's still in relatively early phases. Lots of my friends, including Ali research mentioned Hinton and Professor Huang, lots of all of us actually were long-time friends for many years. Lots of our friends is working on the AGI and worry about AGI. But as a product company like AirDoc, we still feel like the disadvantage or the shortage of the current AGI is a lot, much more than every people think about. For example, it's very easy for a big language model to understand what's the sign of the red light and green light and yellow light, but it's very hard for it to directly understand why people set the rule to 3 colors rather than 4 colors or 5 colors, because there are lots of hidden messages not being well recognized and well recorded into the internet. So from the textbook's perspective, actually there are no way for the AI to learn from that. AI learn from the data, from the knowledge, even though from some of the insight. But the problem is that in most cases, human beings live in the world with physical interaction, live in the world of the psychological emotion interaction, live in a world of the much more complicated, multi-dimensional information, rather than only text or video or images. So the challenges we are facing is that even though there is a very good solution, it still takes lots of time for people to understand what the solution looks like. For example, in China, we already screened more than 30 million people that do the diagnostic automatically. We're already the biggest provider in the world on the medical AI. But it still takes us for 5 years to get the approval of CE. We did exactly the same clinical trial, exactly same thing, just in different country. After that, we still need to work with the local medical association on all kinds of the medical things, and as well as doing the clinical validation, doing exactly the same thing. So those takes time. And also, we are also considering to establish most advanced medical AI device manufacturing maybe in German or in French. In some cases, we're still decide on which country we are going to deploy that. All of this takes so many years. So we believe that there is a very good dream or very good assumption of the damage of the AI or AGI. But actually, if it's come to the real world, I think it takes much longer than people expected. And also, my last word, but not least, is that many years ago, people are worried about fire, worried about flash, worried about thunder, worried about cars. But now, actually, people are leveraging, controlling heating, controlling electricity, controlling drive car or driverless car. I believe human being is smart enough to control all the tools we built. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I look at one of the reflection from Ray's speech is we should not draw an early conclusion because it takes time. And also human, we learn from history. We are learning from the past how we mitigate the risk as we get along. Also, I saw the gentleman from here, Can we help the gentleman with the mic? Can you also identify yourself? You can direct the question to anyone in the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. My name is Klaas Neumann. I'm from SAP, a German software company. And you mentioned also that 61% of all patents in AI coming meanwhile from China, another 20% from the US. I see the same picture, of course, also on the foundation models, which is also largely dominated by US and also China. And also within that group, it's mostly companies. Yeah? So it's mostly private companies that push AI forward, also your company, of course. And my question is to the panel, at which stages do you include the corporate views and how deeply do you really interact with companies around the globe, whether it's in the Bletchley Summit or Seoul Summit, in other fora, and also which companies do you include outside of the two big countries, for example, from the EU? That would be my interest, and even from the Global South. So we talked a lot about inclusivity. So how are all of these companies, their views, their inventions are included into the governance discussion? Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any volunteer? Yes, Marut.
Maybe first on the EU, this is the easy part. Yes, so we have in the framework of the new legislation, we have a scientific committee who is there to give expert opinions, so basically in a constant interaction with the government, because of course the EU law legislation, the risk, high risk activities is regulated or monitored at the country level, and Commission level is then the GPI, the big platforms. So there's two different ways of kind of let's say, implementing this. And of course, there's also then a stakeholder forum, which we are going to set up, where we're going to collect inputs from all stakeholders also, I mean, continuously on the process. I mean, I don't know exactly, of course, it's very new legislation, how often and how we're going to set it up and how often it meets, but we are certainly have foreseen the stakeholder inputs in both of the scientific side and also from the stakeholder company side.
Thank you. Mark?
Yes, to add on that, companies are very much involved in the discussion along with other stakeholders from other sectors. It's not only companies, businesses, but also researchers and academia that need to play a role in the global discussion about AI governance. And for us, in the German government, it is really crucial to have such a multi-stakeholder approach being applied to the discussion about global AI governance. And that's why we are very committed to support and promote that approach. And by the way, also at the AI Safety Summits in Bletchley Park and in Korea 2 weeks ago, stakeholders were involved, were attending the summit. And to add on that, also not only in our multilateral discussions that we are having about AI governance, but also in our bilateral relations, stakeholders such as companies and others play an important role. For instance, we have digital dialogues with a number of countries, and one of these partnerships exists with Singapore. And in the framework or under the umbrella of that digital dialogue, our State Secretary and I have been to Singapore last week, and in the sidelines of our digital dialogue, we also visited SAP in order to discuss their perspective on what is happening in the field of AI. And perspectives that we get from companies and other stakeholders very much inform our approaches.
Thank you. We see a couple hands because also we are behind our schedule. Yeah, may I? Yeah, go to our Zoom. Yes, Zoom.
I'll be quick. I think it's a follow-up question also from the previous one. Both the Chinese and Europeans, I'm from CCG, by the way. Both the Chinese and European sides have stressed upon inclusivity. And of course, when we say some are leaders, then many others are followers. So there needs to be a sense of affirmative action. And also often we talk about the scope for China-EU or China-Europe cooperation in South-South global governance. So I would like to know your views on this. What is particularly being done on maybe the Chinese side as well to have more inclusive views and incorporating them in a future governance on AI, and if you foresee any collaboration between China and Europe. Thank you.
I was saying China, Europe already working together, right? That's one of the beauty we have this forum. Can any volunteer to give maybe a short answer? Professor Zhang, yeah, yes. Give a short one, yeah.
Yeah, short one. Thank you for the question. Yes, we already see many cooperation between China and the EU. We can see last week, the EU and France just make a joint statement on the AI governance. Yes, and also we can see many collaboration between academia and the industries. And we also see some international technical standards are cooperated by the industries from China and the EU. I think the cooperation is going, yeah. Making. With Global South. Thank you. In April, I just participated the forum of China and Africa, the digital forum between China and Africa. I think to Global South, China is very interested in the capacity building for Global South and the financial assistance to Global South. I think it's on its way. Yes.
Thank you. Well, since we are already running short of time, maybe I have one more speaker in 2 minutes. Invite Li Ye, who is a vice president from the Merck, another global company, industry player. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. So all the panelists, I'm from Merck, a German company based in Darmstadt, and also a science and technology company looking for AI innovator in China and also worldwide. There are quite a few interesting news happening recently. I just name a few news and just ask your point of view on those. First is we noticed that Chinese and U.S. government just did an intergovernmental exchange focused on AI in Geneva. This is the first time that two countries focus on this topic and doing this working group exchange in the third country focus on AI risk. This is one. The second is last Sunday, the Jansen Huang from the NVIDIA, as the CEO, just announced their gigantic AI chips, a new innovation plan in Taipei. And Taiwan is going to be the heart of the AI unit processing geopolitics hot point there. And they're going to speed up the processing speed in the next few years. And also European Commission just set up the Artificial Intelligence Office as a just newly really very good structure and governance all these policies. So what's your perspective on all this happening in the last 2 weeks? And give us some insights. Thank you.
Any volunteer? Mark, yes. Since you just came from Singapore, probably have some perspective how to respond to.
Yeah, perhaps to some of the points or elements that you mentioned. The first thing is that the talks between the US and China that you mentioned that took place recently in Geneva, I think Director General Gao also mentioned this in his opening remarks, if I understood it correctly. To us, it is really important to have bilateral conversation on AI and other topics of digital policy, and therefore we really believe that dialogue formats such as the talks that took place recently can really push the needle in order to reach a common understanding of the challenges that we are facing and also the opportunities that AI provide. And therefore, we believe that dialogue formats such as the one that the United States kicked off can really benefit. And we are also very much interested in keeping up bilateral digital dialogue formats like the talks that took place recently.
Thank you. Also, I saw some hands raising in the back. Can we help the gentleman with the mic? Yes.
Okay, also I can just use my voice. It's really a great chance here. You can see lots of people here. I promise we are the real human, not like the AI generated person, right? And I just from the job in business school, which helps 1,000 Chinese company to be global. So my question will goes to Mr. Han Mei. Lots of Chinese social, like the entrepreneur, really wanted to break the marketing into European country, but they have not enough knowledge of how we can just set up the policy align, like the AI governance and the data protection, like the GDPR, something else. So do you have any suggestion for this kind of company which really want to enter the European market and like the technology company? And any suggestion to pass to them? And you need to prepare something like this.
Thank you. Matthew?
Yes, I have only one. They have to comply with European laws and legislations. Then they can enter. That's very simple.
Thank you. And the last, I wish the European football champion in Germany and Olympic in Paris have the great success. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe I want to just echo what Matthew have said. Things have to take step by step. You have to comply with what the regulation is about, how to grow your business, regardless whether multinationals in China was Chinese company going global, right? Thank you very much. And so since we're running fast, I would like to really thank our esteemed panelists for sharing your insight. Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah.
Professor Zhang, you before mentioned like there is a group based on like working on risk, and one group is like working on the like positive agenda. And we know there's the AI Safety Summit that's focusing more on the risk parts. So what is your outlook for the positive part, like the positive agenda on AI? And that goes to all the panelists, but maybe mostly to you, Professor Zhang.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question. Balancing the security and the development is always the spirit of legislation, both in EU and China. And I think in the EU AI Act, countries made a compromise to make sure all the companies, startups in EU can get a great space of development, and also congratulates on the French company, Mistral AI. I remember the name. It's a great success recently. And also talk about the innovation part and development part of AI on AI Safety Summit. I think Mark just mentioned the AI Safety Summit not only focus on the AI safety issue, but also a report about innovation is also published in the EU, in the Seoul AI Safety Summit. I think just like Mr. Gu said, some AI safety issue and some concerns can be solved by the technical development. Now we may concern about AI may replace human, or can we prevent AI misuse? But in the future, if we do have some advanced technology, I think it may be solved in one way, in one day. And also, I believe that all the regulations are enabler, not limited to the technology development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I look at us, we are running out of time, but after this session, we will have a networking session. We can continue many discussing. Please join me in thanking our esteemed panelists for sharing the ISEC. Until next time, thank you so much.